श्री राधा गोकुलानंद भगवान की, पंचतत्व की, गौर निताय भगवान की। नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नीति नामिने। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नीति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda Radhe, Radha Gokula Nanda Radhe, Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda Radhe, Radha Gokula Nanda Radhe, Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Premanande.
Hari 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 Bol. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhans Parivajakaacharya Astot Sat Sat Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhansa Parivajakaacharya Astot Sat Sat Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Brihad Madanga Book Distribution Ki Jai. ISKCON Manchester Yatra Ki Jai. Samveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai Gaur Premanande. Namaste Narasimhayo.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Praladadayine. Hiranyakashipur Bhakshaha. Shilatangkano kalohe. Ito nisimho poroto nisimho. Yeto yeto yamitato nisimho.
Bahe Nisimho Ridoye Nisimho Nisimho Adim Sharanam Prapote Tavakara Kamala Vare Nakam Adbhuta Singam Dalito Hiranyakashipu Tanabringam Tavakara Kamala Vare Nakam Adbhuta Singam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadishi Hare Jai Jagadishi Hare Jai Jagadishi Hare Jaya Nishingadev 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 Jaya Nishingadev Jaya Bhakta Prahlad, Jaya Bhakta Prahlad, Bhakta Prahlad, Jaya Bhakta Prahlad. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev. Jaya 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 Gurudev. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gora Hari Bol, Jai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gora Hari Bol.
Shri Vigna Vinashak Lakshmi Narasingh Dev Bhagwan ki Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai Nittai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Hari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, very good afternoon and welcome to the Sunday afternoon program at the Hare Krishna Temple. In the Hare Krishna Temple, anywhere you go across the world, there will be an Arati, 12:30 afternoon, everywhere. So for those of you who are not familiar, this is the first part of the program where what we do is we offer greetings to the deity and the altar. This is an altar setup. I see quite a few faces today, so I'm just trying to go through the format. So this is an altar setup and we have deities on the altar. The two little deities you see are Krishna and Balaram. We also know them as Nityananda and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gaura Nitai. So this is an altar setup, and every ISKCON temple around the world, 12:30, there will be greetings. So we start our program doing that. This lasts for about half an hour. Normally we would have a class. A speaker will come and speak on a topic. Today that is happening at 2 o'clock. So between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock, we will be singing some bhajans, which is again glorification of the Lord. After we did the kirtan, everybody bow down and offer their respects. Those are again prayers to the acharyas, leaders of the movement, and we remember holy places where we'd like to be someday together with devotees. And then the other prayer we did was Narasingha prayers. Narasingha is on that frame at the back of the temple, if you just have a look. Narasingha is also a form of Krishna, and we offer our prayers to Lord Narasinghadev to ask for protection, for our protection. So we do that. So this is the format. So now we'll do some nice bhajans and kirtan till about 2 o'clock. And 2 o'clock we will have a special class today. We have today amongst us a sannyasi. He's a saint in the movement. His Holiness Dayananda Swami Maharaj. So he'll be speaking today. It's a nice topic. Just have a quick look. So his topic is qualifications favorable for spiritual advancement. That's the topic he's going to talk about. I'm sure all of you would be a little bit interested as to how to progress, how to do a little bit more on the spiritual side of things. So it's very appropriate for him to speak on this topic today, qualifications for our spiritual advancement. So we'll now get into kirtan session and bhajan. We'll bring the bhajan on the screen and we can all sing together. Okay? Hare Krishna. Krishna Prabhu, can you help us with the Vedanga?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
No problem.
See? No. Who's saying no? Backbenchers. I'll increase the size of it. How about that? Better? Okay. So can we have a volunteer? Venkaru, would you like to just do the translation? Like you being the good student at the front. Just the translation. So we know what the bhajan is about.
O Lord Hari, O Lord Krishna, I offer my obeisance to you, who are known as Hari, Yadava, Madhava and Keshava. O Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Sri Madhusudana, Giridhari Gopinatha and Madana Mohana. All glories to Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda. All glories to Sri Advaita Acharya and his consort, Sri Sita Thakurani. All glories to Lord Hari, to the spiritual master, the Vaishnavas, Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad-Gita. All glories to Sri Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, Gopala Bhatta Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami. I offer my obeisances to the feet of these 6 Goswamis. Owing to them, all obstacles to devotion are destroyed and all spiritual desires are fulfilled. I'm the servant of that person who is the servant of these 6 Goswamis. Dust of their lotus feet is my 5 kinds of foodstuffs. This is my desire, that birth after birth I may live with those devotees who serve the lotus feet of these 6 Goswamis. When these 6 Goswamis lived in Brija, they revealed the lost holy places, explained the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Just shout the names of Lord Hari in great ecstasy and worship transcendental realm of Vrindavana while absorbing your mind in meditation upon the divine feet of the spiritual master and the Vaishnavas. Desiring to serve the lotus feet of Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas, Narottama Dasa sings this Sankirtana of the holy names of Lord Hari.
Thank you, Venkat Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So we'll get into the bhajan now. It's a beautiful picture of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performing Nagar Sankirtan, or a sacred street party like we have every so often in town center. Hare Krishna. Hari Haraya Namaha Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Boliye. Hari Haraya Namaha Krishna Hari Haraya Namaha Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hari Haraya Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana. Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavad-Gita. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavad-Gita. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha Shri Gopala Bhatta Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha HI Gosair Kori Charana Vandana HI Gosair Kori Charana Vandana Jaha hoite Vigna Nasha Abhishta Purana Jaha hoite Vignana Shavishta Purana HI Gosai Jar Mui Taradas HI Gosai Jar Mui Taradas Tasabara Padarenu Mora Panchagras Tasabara Padarenu Mora Panchagras Tadera Charana Sevi Bhakta Shane Bhat Tadera Charana Sevi Bhakta Shane Bhat Janam janam mein hoye abhilash Janam janam mein hoye abhilash HI Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas HI Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakar Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakar Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majayaman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majayaman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pada Padma Koriyas Shri Guru Vaishnava Pada Padma Koriyas Narottama Dasa Kohe Nama Sankirtan Narottama Dasa Kohe Nama Sankirtan Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Panchatattva, Jai Panchatattva. Jai Radha Gokula Nanda, Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Haribol, Nitai Gaura Haribol. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai, Shri Panch Tattva Bhagavan ki jai, Shri Radha Gokulananda ki jai, श्री गौर निताय की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरि हरि वो।
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nivesesha Sunyavadi Pashyatade Satarine.
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashatya Desatarine.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktavinda.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Bolo bolo. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo.
Sankirtan Yaga ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nittai Gaura Premanande, Hari 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 Hari.
Hare Krishna. Is anybody new today? Okay, so you have to excuse me, they're all waiting for me, so we did a longer kirtan. So I'll just chant for 10 minutes, and then we can start to speak about the philosophy. Is that okay?
Yes. So still move forward. There's more space in here. If you definitely not going to use that, then I'll bring it down.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Madhava Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're going to read from the Bhagavad-Gita. So Bhagavad-Gita is explaining the science of the soul, the science of life. That, and I thought I'd read from the 16th chapter. This chapter is called Divine and Demoniac Natures. So everybody, in the material world we see there's good and bad. Even as children we're brought up to see good and bad. There's the goodies and the baddies. Is that right? And depending on our perception, we'll see one side as good and one side as bad. Is that right? We see cowboys and Indians. Some see the Indians as being in the right, some see the cowboys. And it's like that. This material world is a place of duality. And therefore, you know, it causes a lot of friction. But actually, everything should be seen in a neutral way. And this is a process of spiritual life. To not become affected by the interactions of this world, but remain observant of them, be able to see them from a proper standpoint, and therefore not become entangled. Because as soon as we become entangled, we create competition. Right now there's a competition in Eastern Europe, and competition for land, competition for this, competition. And so this is not good. Even at school, what's the first thing they teach us? To compete. But they say one thing which it's subtle. In the beginning it's subtle. They say don't copy. Is that right? So that means we're going to compete. Is that right? Yeah. So spiritual life is not like that. Spiritual life is that everybody is trying to achieve the same goal, and so therefore everybody should help one another to achieve that goal. That these external designations based on this body, you know, are temporary. The body is like a machine, and it's worked by the life force within the body. And in Bhagavad-Gita it explains that life force is actually the person. Just like we experience so many changes in life, but we still feel the same. We experience change from being a little boy, little girl, all the way to being an old man, but we still feel the same person. So this is one way we can understand that the body is temporary, it's changing, and we are actually eternal. So spiritual life means understanding the eternal, understanding who we really are, and then acting in an appropriate way. And so this chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, it's saying that divine qualities or good qualities are conducive for spiritual advancement, or advancement in life actually. Even if it's not spiritual, good qualities actually bring good results, and bad qualities bring bad results. It may not appear that way. Sometimes they say, why do people who are in the wrong, prosper? Well, that's just a temporary situation. We can explain more about that in another talk. But here I thought we'd talk about, I'll just read this. Well, I'm not read it all because it's a long verse. I'll read some of it, and then we can discuss a little further. So you don't have to reply because there's several verses and a long purport. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Abhayam Sattvasam Sudhir Jnana Yoga Vyavistati Dhanam Dhamascha Yagyascha Svajaya Tapa Arjunaha Arjavaha Ahimsa Satyam Arkrodas Chagat Shantir Upaisunam Daiva Bhakteshu Alop Patvam Madhavan Hrir Achapalam Teja Shama Dritir Shocham Akrodo Natimanita Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim Abhijatasya Bharata. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigour, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honour. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharat, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. So I wanted to pick on one particular quality, and it doesn't say much about that quality. But actually it's a very deep, very important one, and that's simplicity. Simplicity. There we go. I'll just read from the computer. Save a lot of time. No. 16, 1 to 3. As far as Brahminical quality of simplicity is concerned, not only should a particular order of life follow this principle, but every member, be in the Brahmachari ashram, Grihastha ashram, Vanaprastha ashram or Sannyas ashram, should be very simple and straightforward. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastatya Disatarine. Just to repeat, as far as the Brahminical quality of simplicity is concerned, not only should a particular order of life follow this principle, but every member, be in the student ashram, the married ashram, the retired ashram, or the renounced ashram. Ashram means a place for spiritual culture. So, we can relate to student, we can relate to married life, we can relate to retired life. And the last one, sannyas, means renounced life. We only act for spiritual emancipation. So in other words, all the way through our life we should actually follow this principle. And our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, he writes on this very nicely. Let me see. This is from another book called Chaitanya Chaitamrita. Is it the first time at this temple, when I was asking earlier, or is it the first time you've been to this temple and you've practiced Krishna consciousness before?
We've got a few new.
Eh?
We've got a few new.
Brand new.
Yeah,
Brand new. Okay. So, in Sanskrit, I'll use some Sanskrit terms, but then we'll explain what they mean. Kutanati, or diplomatic behaviour, cannot satisfy the Atma, that's a person, the self. It cannot even satisfy the body or the mind. The culprit's mind is always suspicious. Therefore, our dealings should always be straightforward and approved by Vedic authorities. If we treat people diplomatically or duplicitously, our spiritual advancement is obstructed. So simple doesn't mean simple-headed. You know, sometimes we think simple means we're not fully there, but simple means simple in behaviour, simple in thought, simple in dealings. In other words, it's a kind of honesty. We can talk about that later also. But here in this particular purport, or in another purport, our founder Acharya actually says that we follow 4 principles. Like in Christianity they follow, 10 principles, the 10 commandments. So they are abbreviated into 4. It's the same. And these 4 are that sex life should be for the procreation of children within marriage life. So, you know, Christian religion also, marriage is actually required. We don't, no intoxication, we shouldn't pollute the body so that we're always alert. Gambling is also, you know, to be prohibited. We don't gamble. We should be satisfied with whatever we have and see it as it's been sent from the Supreme and used it in an appropriate way. And violence, no meat eating, no unnecessary violence. So in this world, you know, there's a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam that says that one living entity is food for another. We see that, don't we? In the animal kingdom. And this is the way things are made in this world, that because we're trying to compete, eventually we compete for our very life. And so as aspiring spiritualists, we try to give up that competitive spirit of unnecessarily killing other living entities. So no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex outside of marriage, and no meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, and no intoxication, that's it. But there's one more. Is it 4 or 5? Are you sure? Well, actually, in this purport, Prabhupada mentions, he paraphrases these 4 illicit activities, and he adds one. Guess what it is? Simplicity. He said one should be so straightforward. He says otherwise one's spiritual advancement is obstructed. So if we're not simple, we cannot develop trust in one another. If we're actually, kutinata means crooked. It means crooked. We're crooked nature. So there's no trust if we're dealing with somebody who's we know he's actually a criminal or a crook. We'll be on our guard. Will we trust him? So many years ago, people used to be able to leave their doors open, and actually in India, Prabhupada says, he said in the country of Kashmir, especially, he said that if one dropped something, lost something, and it dropped in the street, it don't matter what it was, it could be really valuable, nobody would pick it up. It would be there when you went back for it, because the trust was so high. But nowadays, we go out for 5 minutes, lock the door. You just nip to the shop, lock the door. Otherwise, we may not have a car left when we go back. Anyway, I'm not going into all that, but so yeah, trust is very low in this day and age. And I wanted to tell a story. Is that all right? Last week, it was a celebration of one representative of the Lord, one incarnation called Ramachandra, Lord Ram. And in that pastime, there are so many reasons he came to this world. to perform the pastime. So there's so many qualities we can learn from his appearance. And I thought I'd just speak about a few of them which are related to this quality of simplicity. And one is trust. So Lord Ramachandra, in brief, he was banished to the forest. He was a prince and he was due to become the next king. But due to some, crooked behaviour, he was cheated of his right to the throne for 14 years. And he had to live in the forest incognito for that time. And while he was in the forest, his wife went with him, by the way. His wife was so straightforward, so honest, that she wanted to follow her proper married vows. It says that a wife should be with the husband through happiness. What's it say? What do the marriage vows say nowadays? Through what? Through good and bad, thick and thin, yeah. So we even say this nowadays. And so she was very conscientious that she followed that particular guidance. And so she agreed, she wanted to go with Lord Ram. Lord Ramachandra, he said, look, it's too difficult to live in a forest. There's so many obstacles for, you used to live in a palace, sleeping on a soft bed and having so many luxuries, you'll never actually survive. But she was adamant. She said, no, I'm your wife, I want to go to the forest and I want to be with you, that's my duty. And so Lord Ramachandra couldn't argue because that's a scriptural injunction. And so they went to the forest, and after some time, one great demoniac person, they called him Ravan, he was actually roaming in the forest. And he heard from some people that he met there's one really beautiful princess with a husband in the forest. And they described her to him. And of course he was very, very lusty and demoniac, and he thought, oh, I would like to see this Sita. And so he made his mind up that he was going to kidnap her. And by cutting at her hook and crook, he managed to do that. So he kidnapped Lord Ramachandra's wife while he was unawares. And so the situation now is that he's looking for his wife. He's with his brother. His brother, they call him Lakshman. And so they're walking, they're searching the forest, and they come across one village, a forest village of Varanas. So a Varana means a monkey in colloquial terms. But it's very special, very special. And they meet one of the Varanas, they call him Sugriva. And Sugriva is, they're talking to Lord Ramachandra, and Lord Ram says, can you help me, the people of your village, to find Sita? He says, yes, definitely. He says, but there's one problem. And Lord Ramachandra says, what is that? He says that I have an older brother, and we don't get on together. He's always trying to kill me. Brother trying to kill a brother. And Lord Ramachandra said, why is that? So then he started telling the story. He said, one day one demon came to the village, and he was causing mischief. And so me and they call his brother Valley, myself and Valley, we chased this demon, and he went into a cave. And so we were considering what to do in the mouth of the cave. And Valley said, he was the strongest of the two, he's the older brother. He says, I'll go in there and I'll capture the demon and kill him. He says, you wait here, and if he gets past me, then you can do it. He says, but, don't go away until I come out. He says, it may be a long time, so Sugriva agreed. He says, okay. So Vali goes to the time and it went on for some time. Then a big scream, and so Sugriva was convinced that Vali has killed him, and so he thinks about time. Vali come back out again and go back to the village. So a couple went by, a couple of days went by, a couple of weeks went by. Mind. The mind ever made a good when we start when we think about it, much better. Has anybody any experience getting better? And so he was thinking the worst. He thinks, well, if Vali had won the battle, he would have come straight out of the cave. He's got nothing to stay in there for. And but if the demon won, then he'll hit the cave. So he convinced himself that Vali was dead. And so he thought, well, it's no good me going in there. If the demons kill my older brother, who's stronger than me, I won't be able to fight him. So there's a boulder at the gate, at the mouth of the cave. And so with great difficulty he fetched some of the Varanas from the village, and they all put it back in front of the cave, so it was sealed. And so Sugriva was heartbroken. He thought his brother was dead, but he had to, they were both princes, and so he had to take over ruling the village and the kingdom while Vali was, assumed dead. And then a little later, Vali, he came to the cave entrance, and he thought, the rascal, he's actually locked me in here so he can rule the kingdom. So this was another assumption. So, and then, so somehow or other, somehow or other he managed to actually get out of the cave. And when he went back to the village, as soon as he saw Sugriva, he actually pounced on him and he started, beating him up. And Sugriva was trying to explain to him what had happened. And but he was so angry that he had to run for his life. And, this went on for some time, that every time Vali, he was searching for Sugriva just to kill him. And so eventually he had to take shelter in one sage's hermitage. This hermitage was a place that in his youth his brother Vali had been causing mischief. And so the sage had said, if you come back here again, you'll die. And so he knew that, so Sugriva understood this, that he can't come here. So he stayed with the sage, and that's where Lord Ramachandra met him. And so we have that situation where, so Sugriva is always running for his life because Vali is going to kill him. And so he says to Lord Ramachandra, I can't actually speak to him. I can't tell him what's actually happened. So, I have to actually kill him. I have to kill Vali, because not only is he actually trying to kill me, but he's kidnapped my wife. That's a capital punishment offence. And he's actually my children also. And Lord Ramachandra, he understood. He said, yeah, you're right. That's not a lawful act at all. So he agreed to help Sugriva. And so then Sugriva went to the palace of Vali, and he started, now he's got some support, and started shouting, Vali, come out here and see what I'll do to you. And Vali, as soon as he heard his voice, he was like, whoa. So he went to the window and saw Sugriva, and he was just about to go out, and his wife said to him, where are you going? Don't go out. Just think, he was so frightened of you, but now he's got so much, he's so brave. So there's something happened. He's protected. So don't go out there, otherwise, But, Vali was once again so angry. He just ran out and he started fighting with Sugriva. And of course Lord Ramachandra was in the forest behind a tree, and he didn't kill Vali straight away, but Vali started to get the better of Sugriva. And just at that point where he was going to kill Sugriva, Lord Ramachandra, he shot his arrow and pierced Vali in the chest through the heart. And so then he ran over to Vali, and Vali was saying, why did you perform this cowardly act? He said, you were supposed to be the Supreme Lord. And then Lord Ramachandra started to explain to him that, you've done so many wrong things which you've forgotten about. This is just punishment for you. And then Vali started to understand the situation properly, and he said, okay, I'm going to leave this world now, but make sure my wife, Tara, is it? My wife Tara is looked after. Sugriva should look after her, and also my son Angada. And so Ramachandra agreed that Sugriva should do that. So far what's happened? Has there been a lot of trust? Not much trust. So let's go on a little bit further. So why is that? Remember, think about it. The mind, isn't it? The mind. We're relying on the mind instead of facts. So then, at some point, a little later, Sugriva, he starts to create a situation where there's different parties of Varanas can go in different directions looking for Lord Ramachandra's wife, Sita. And so three leaders, Angada, the son of Vali, Jambavan, he's the king of the apes, and very special apes, by the way. And the last one was Hanuman. That's and so they go to the south part of. They're more likely to find Sita, Lord Ramachandra's wife, because that's the way they last saw her being taken. And then they're searching, and 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks of searching, and then they realise that we have a slim chance of actually finding Lord Ramachandra's wife. And so then Angada, the son of Vali, he starts to think. He starts thinking about the situation. He's thinking that if I go back to the base camp without finding Sita, then Sugriva, he'll kill me. Why did he think that? Where did that come from? They said there'd be some, Anyway, so and he starts thinking about the past. He starts thinking that it was Sugriva who tried to trap my father in the cave. He tried to kill him once. He actually, his mind changed now he was in a difficult situation. He was thinking that, it was actually just a misunderstanding, but now he's in this difficult situation. He's thinking, maybe, Sugriva did try to kill my father. And then he's thinking that, that he arranged for my father to be killed by Lord Ramachandra. So what chance have I got? The whole thing turned round due to this, what had happened in the past. And so he was thinking that if I go back to base camp, then Sugriva will have me executed along with all the monkeys who came with me. But if I stay here, I can actually perform tapasya and leave this world in peace. He decided that there was nothing else to live for. And so, Hanuman, he tried to convince him that, this is not the thing to do, you're just speculating. He said, you don't know these things. He said, I'm sure, Lord, that Sugriva has not got that in mind. He doesn't want to kill you. So half the monkeys were agreeing with Hanuman, and half of them were agreeing with Angada. And so then he started to fast. And after some time, there was this bird came along. Bird was called Sampati. So Sampati didn't have any wings. And so, but we'll come back to that later. But when Sampati came and saw he's a vulture, and so he understands what's happening, and he's thinking, I'm going to have a real feast here. And Angada sees Sampati, and he turns to his friends and he says, we're going to meet the same fate now as Jatayu. Jatayu. And as soon as he said Jatayu, Sampati, he looked up, he said, Jatayu? Where's Jatayu? You know Jatayu? Yes, he's my brother. I said, oh, what happened to my brother? And so they told him the story how Jatayu had been killed trying to stop Ravan from stealing Sita. And so, Sampati is heartbroken. And he starts relating the story of, they were both brothers together. And him being the older brother, he protected Jatayu from the sun when they were flying one day. And the sun became so fierce that it burned both his wings off. And so he said, but I was, because I actually acted properly, then there was one sage there at the time, he says, because of your munificent act, he says, you'll have the benediction of rendering some devotional service to the Supreme Personality of God in the future. And so then Sampati realized that, so at that point Sugriva said, oh, now's the time to perform that service. He said, do you know which way Sita went? And so Sampati was, very enthusiastic that he'd got this opportunity to serve the Lord. And so he looked over the horizon towards Lanka and he said, that's where Sita is. And so all the monkeys, they became euphoric, they became full of bliss and full of happiness and very enthusiastic to follow the path that Sita had gone. And what did Angada do? He forgot all about what he was thinking. The other monkeys forgot all about what they were thinking. So, it's like in times when things are difficult, this is when the mind becomes very, very powerful. And this is when we start thinking on towards things. But more than that, it's, amongst the congregation of devotees, and even with general public also, we have to be so simple and straightforward. Because if we do anything which is questionable, then what happens is, we're talking about trust here, then that trust is broken. It may not be broken at that particular time, but people remember. Is that right? People remember a little incident where we didn't exhibit trust, exhibit straightforwardness. And then at some untowards time, just like Angada was thinking, oh, I'm going to be killed by, Sugriva. He starts thinking about the things that Sugriva may have done. And so, in devotional life, in any life, if we're actually straightforward and honest, we don't act in an untowards way, then we develop trust in one another. He said that in bygone ages, anybody who was actually a sincere devotee of the Lord, then the general populace would come to that person and they would actually ask them to solve disputes. They would take his decision as final. So that's our first duty. This is like the fifth. regulative principle. As soon as we start being duplicitous, it talks about diplomacy. Diplomacy is a word we use nowadays. It's all right, diplomatic, the diplomats. But it's not all right. It means we're not straightforward. Is it? I've seen on the television, has anybody seen a member of parliament answer a question? Has anybody witnessed that? I don't think anybody has. You know, they ask a question. They're trained, actually. You know that, they're trained. That if somebody asks a question, it's an awkward question, they'll say, in 2019, you know, they'll say something which the person did wrong. And how does he answer? Have we got any diplomats here?
You go around the house, you don't address the subject.
Eh?
Go around, you don't address the subject, you just talk around it.
Yeah, but how does he talk around it?
You do manifesto that says, oh, we've done this, we've done that, and they don't.
Yeah, they'll say, yes, he won't even mention 2000. In 2019, he said, yes, but in 2020, until like say he explains something, did he right? So this is diplomatic behaviour. So, you know, in the association of people who are trying to make spiritual advancement, it's a very bad quality. So where does so trust? So when it's simple, there's trust. And what does it? How? I'll give an example. Is everybody's simplicity the same? Anybody got any examples? Because simplicity is dependent on the state of the heart, isn't it? The state of our consciousness. So there's another quality, a quality of integrity. What does integrity mean? No compromise. Can you expand on that?
Your principles, if you believe in a certain virtue, you stick to it no matter what.
Yeah, it means our values are reflected by our actions. Is that right? So is everybody's integrity the same?
No.
Is it? I'm asking everybody. I'm getting one answer here.
Well, the definition of integrity is the same. What it means to you as an individual could be different. Because of your principles or because of the way you want to lead it.
Yeah, so, you know, somebody, like there's honour amongst thieves. You know, when Prabhupada used to give this example, when he used to say it, he used to start laughing, you know. How can there be honour amongst thieves? They've stolen. He said, but, you know, the thieves, if they have a thief's integrity, they'll make sure they share the booty. Is that right? So if you don't share the booty, you're not an honest person. So we see there's different levels of integrity. So let me just say a little more on that, just a minute. Yeah, there's some definitions of integrity, okay? Integrity is defined as, this is from the dictionary, by the way, honesty and fairness, yeah? But that's not really a good explanation, is it? We've just said there's different levels. What's honest for another is different for somebody else. Adhering to moral principles and values, yeah? That's also relative, isn't it? Being whole, that's a good one, isn't it? Being whole. What does being whole mean? the inside is same as the outside. What we do is what our consciousness is, what our values are, we do. Being sound and unimpaired. Like in a building, they say it's got structural integrity, it's sound. And Prabhupada in Bhagavad-Gita, he says, in Bhagavad-Gita introduction, Srila Prabhupada writes, Sanatana Dharma, this means devotional service, is eternally integral with the living entity. So this is the highest integrity. What's inside? What's inside? Super soul. Super soul. So when we are actually connecting with the super soul, that's real integrity. So this process of devotional service means that whatever level we're at, whatever our integrity, do it properly. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that. He said not everybody is ready for pure devotional service. Maybe many devotees are not on that platform. And so Bhaktivinoda Thakur says whatever situation we're in, he said, we should follow that. We should have integrity, and then by that integrity we can move to the next. In other words, what we know to be right, according to whether we've been trained, then do it. This makes us at least honest to our own principles. And then he says, if we do that, this is progressive. Then eventually we'll come to the point of being able to, relate to the Lord within the heart. We see on television sometimes, don't we? These two, somebody's thinking. On one side there's the devil, is that right? Has anybody seen that picture? There's a person thinking, and he's being preached to by this head in the sky, and it's got, a devil. And on the other side there's this angel preaching another way. He's got a choice. Yeah, do it. And the saint saying, no, don't do it. So eventually we're able to see what the instructions of the Supreme Personality of God is within the heart. So, and when we don't follow integrity, then we lose people's trust. So real integrity means, what's Bhagavad-Gita? What does Ishupanishad say about integrity? Purnam adapurnamidam purnat purnam udachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnameva vashishyate. That the personality of Godhead has integrity. He's completely whole. And everything that emanates from him is also integral in our natural condition. And even though so many units emanate from him, like this material world, us, he still remains complete. And whatever emanates from him is also complete. So that's the goal of our life, to develop real integrity. By being honest now, whether we're religious or not, by following this being honest with ourselves, doing the right thing, we'll eventually come to the point of devotional service. So this is a long way. We have to rise from those, maybe in the Aborigines in the outback. They have integrity, probably more than what we do. Modern civilization, does it have integrity? What do you think? Shall we put modern civilization on trial? Who thinks modern civilization has got integrity? Be honest.
Not fully.
We've got some doubts.
Compromised to quite an extent.
Are things getting better? if things are getting better, then that's integrity at work. If relationships are stretched and things are not getting better, that means a lack of integrity. So we have to, judge for ourselves. Actually, one day I was just last week. I went into one. I think it was Halfords or something like that on this estate, these. And I had one young devotee with me, brahmachari, and I was looking for a tire pressure gauge. It's one of these little pumps. These little pumps you can keep in the car. Because when I got back, I'd been travelling abroad. When I came back, the tire was flat, and so I thought, I'll buy one of these, and then if I have any problem, I can jack it up so I can get to the next destination. So I was looking for something else at the same time, and so I handed him this pump, and then I forgot all about it, And we were looking on the shop now, couldn't find it, so we both walked out. And then when we got to the car, he said, I've got this pump. And, what's integrity? What should I do? And so actually, even before I could think, he said, I'll go back and pay for it. I thought, that's the thing to do. So, this is integrity. We know what to do. We know what we should do when we do it. It seems simple, but, from small beginnings, we develop a character, integral character. We develop character. And then when we develop good character, then it's much easier to understand the next step and the next step. So we should see like that. What time do we finish? We finished there. Okay. So, any last questions or any comments before we stop? Okay. Yantaraj Srimad Bhagavad-Gita ki.
Yeah.
Prabhupada ki. Gaura Premanand.
His Holiness Dayananda Swami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you so much for staying with us all through. We're nearly towards the end of the program. So Dayananda Maharaj, His Holiness Dayananda Maharaj, is local to us. He's spent a lot of time in the Manchester region, and he's come back to be in Manchester after a while, having travelled in few parts of the world. Dayananda Maharaj is a very, very senior member of the movement. He is also the zonal supervisor for our region. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for the reflections from the Bhagavad-Gita and trying to put it very simply, how it is important to be simple in order to advance in our spiritual lives. So I hope there were some takeaway messages for you. If you would like to have a chat with Maharaj, he's available here. If you want to have one-to-one and you don't want to ask a question with everyone, then you can do so. Maharaj is here. So just a few quick announcements. We do this program every Sunday, 12:30 till about this sort of time, and we'll be serving prasadam shortly. Are there any devotees who've come after a long time or have come for the very first time here? You've come for the first time. May I request you to just quickly introduce yourself? I'll pass on the mic to you. Just your name and where you're from and what brought you here today. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Daniel. First of all, I'd just like to say thank you for having me today. It's been very insightful and interesting. I hope to take home a lot of what I've learned today and put it into some sort of practice. I really have just developed over the last few months a love for Krishna, Hare Krishna, and I would like to continue on this journey and see where I go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel. We'll try and support you as best. 12:30 every Sunday we are here for you. Hare Krishna. Yes. Who's anybody else who's come for the first time? Yeah. Oh, you have, yeah. Would you like to introduce your family? You can.
So today's my little brother's birthday, so we came here and we came to Manchester, and yeah. Well, we live in York and we came to Manchester because, my little brother's birthday, so we wanted to go to the temple to get blessings.
And what's your brother's name?
Anish.
Anish. Thank you, Anish, for choosing to be with us to celebrate your birthday. May Krishna bless you. Hare Krishna. Is there anybody else who's come for the first time? Yes. Yes. Yeah, would you like to?
Hare Krishna. We came after 3-4 years. We came earlier when we were in Bradford, not every Sunday, but once in a month we were coming. So then we get back to India and then we have come back again to Manchester. So I remember I also came to some big program happening. I forgot some other place we usually used to have, I think, right, once in a while. So that time I went and 3-4 times in temple, and so far not sure what's the Krishna's plan. If we will be here, we will continue to be coming here regularly. Atul Tiwari. And these are two my daughters.
Thank you, Atul Tiwari ji. Welcome back. Hare Krishna. Anybody else who's... Yes.
I came from Bangladesh. I have come here to Manchester 3 months back. So I took an exam. I'm a doctor actually. So I passed my exam. So I came to Krishna to say thanks. And now I'll be leaving Manchester soon, 2 days later. I hope he blesses me enough that I can come here again and see him every day.
And your name?
My name is Deepa.
Deepa.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
My name is Lalita. I came here last Sunday for the first time since 1999. I've come with my mother because she's moved to the northwest of England from Wales, so I should be coming here. My mother is she's gone to see my sister, she is outside. So my mother is Parvati, and my name is Lalita.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes.
My name is Tanya. I came here with my parents and my siblings. It's the first time we came to the Manchester ISKCON, but we just wanted to get blessings and just visit the Sunday program. I always watch it on YouTube Live, so I wanted to see it in person.
And where are you from?
I'm from Plymouth, but my parents live in Birmingham.
Okay.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. We travel from Birmingham, but I travel from Plymouth. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. My name's Will. I come here for the first time last week, so I'm looking to come and get involved in the program. Really enjoying it, really enjoyed the teachings. So thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, we are glad to see you here. We are first time. I'm from Latvia, and my wife, she's from Ukraine, and we try to live here. And we are very, very glad to see you here. And I listen about your all good devotees, all good qualities of your devotees. And therefore, we just want to ask you your blessings to our expecting baby, and if you can give to some blessings for us, we will be really happy from you. My name is Govinda Chandra Das, and my wife is
Tatiana, Tanya.
Tanya. Yeah. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Anybody else? Also, devotees who come after a long time. Hare Krishna. Damodar Vilas Prabhu is our very senior member of the congregation. Damodar Vilas Prabhu has come back to UK from being in India for a few months. Hare Krishna. So we'd like to warmly welcome everyone who's come for the first time or is regularly coming or has come after a long time by chanting 3 Hari Bols. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. So apart from discussing philosophy and doing a bit of bhajan, kirtan, there are a number of other activities we do as a congregation. Every alternate Saturday, we have a kitchen that runs and we distribute free food to the homeless. We also do street events. Hare Krishna, Shri Panchatu Bhagwan ki jai, Shri Gauranitai ki jai, Shri Radha Krishna ki jai. Every once or twice a month, we also go out in town and we do Harinam, Sankirtan, street Sankirtan. And we also distribute books like the Bhagavad-Gita and other literatures from the scriptures. For those of you who've come today for the first time, if you meet me outside, then you can have a copy of the Gita for no obligation. There are some sponsored copies you can take. So we are officially in summer. If you don't have a copy of the calendar, please take one. The calendar has dates for our festivals. And the next big event to look forward to, if you want to mark your diaries, is July the 31st, which has been tentatively agreed for the Manchester Ratha Yatra. Shri Jagannath ki jai. Okay, so mark the date. And it is a Sunday, I think. Yeah. And if you're not on our WhatsApp message distribution list, please scan the WhatsApp code. It's on the notice board and join the WhatsApp group. You will get a full schedule of all our events, including Sunday, what's happening when, who's coming, timings, etc. So if you want to be in the know, then just join that WhatsApp group also. Okay? Hare Krishna. Anything else? Maharaj, you want anything else?
What do we do now?
Just Prashant.
No, kirtan.
Kirtan we did. I've been told by Gauranga Prabhu to stick to the schedule. Do you want to 5 minutes? Okay, 10 minutes. Okay, Dayanand Maharaj will do a little bit of kirtan and then at about 3 o'clock we'll get in for prasadam. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Everyone knows what's happening when and leave in time, etc. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Sacharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Astacharishu Tarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Nitai Gauranga Jaya Satchinandana Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Gaura Premanandi. Actually, I was saying that it's a long, if you remember in the talk, I was saying it's a long way to go through this integral part. But if we just chant this Hare Krishna Maha mantra, then that's a different story. It's very, very short. So both things should be combined, integrity and this chanting. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Shastra Munya